What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh. What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Hey everybody, I'm Mark.
And I'm Meredith. Welcome to United Way of Catawba County's podcast.
And we are One Community United. So, good afternoon everybody. I'm Mark.
And I'm Meredith. And we
are One Community United. We are excited to have with us today some of my personal favorite people. But we thought it would be really cool for our listeners, all four of you, to hear about some of the really innovative and crucial services that our nonprofits provide in our community. And I am thrilled to have with us today Laura and Austin from Hickory Soup Kitchen.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Meredith.
Hello.
Hey, Meredith. Hey, Mark.
Hello, Laura. Hello, Austin. Now that we have the hellos out of the way, let's dive right in. So I got tickled. Meredith has this great script.
Well, I only have it because I need There's certain things I want to make sure that I'm asking, and yes.
But you have incredible stories, and I know you well enough that I get to hear these stories all the time. And so I'm excited that you're bringing those stories with you. So let's start with this. What is Hickory Soup Kitchen, and what do people have right about it? What do people get wrong about it?
That's a
and
good
the Hope
question.
Center as well.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Hickory Soup Kitchen, what is it? It is an outreach that provides services to anyone who is hungry in our community. And we serve those folks in a variety of ways, but I would say that our mission goes beyond that. We put a little caveat on the mission. The mission statement basically says that, and then there's a comma, and it says, we recognize that the total needs of individuals must be addressed, and we will seek to facilitate the meeting of those other needs. And it left open a door for the soup kitchen to be not a vessel, but a conduit, a way to identify folks when they come to us with needs on how to fill those. And it might be outside of the food, because it's not always about just the food, although that is our mission.
Well, and I think that's what people don't understand truly what you guys do, everything that you do, right?
Sure.
Because you hear Hickory Soup Kitchen. Okay, well, you can go get a hot meal during the day, but there is that comma.
Right.
Because there is so much more that you provide.
Times change.
Yeah.
Times change. Place was started in 83, and so the different crises, just since I've been there, like 15, 16 years, we've had the 2008 financial crisis. We have had a pandemic. The last thing where they cut off the SNAP benefits, or at least the fear of it, even the fear of it caused these, and a million other small crises that come up for people. That's the thing. It changes. And that's why leaving that door open, not necessarily to do something new, but when a need arises, to at least have an avenue to provide the filling of those needs.
And that's really kind of how the Hope program was born, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, going back to 2018, 2019, a pretty extensive survey was done of the soup kitchen guests, and the question about employment came up, and what are your barriers? And one of those was transportation. So we do help soup kitchen guests or referrals from United Way or other agencies. We help those guests find jobs, and then transportation if they need it. And that transportation is a kind of a three-pronged part. One, it could be simple as Greenway bus passes, and that happened this morning. A guy called, and he's gotten a job at Dollar Tree in Maiden, but he had to come to the soup kitchen to get a ride there. And I said, but bus passes might be a better option for you. So there's that element. We have bicycles, and then we have a a minivan that runs a morning route and an afternoon route, picking up people, taking people to their jobs, and then picking them up. And going back to what you said, Mark, about what is it not? That word hope is a wonderful word, but it is all over the place. It's all over North Carolina, and a lot of it refers to housing, and that's not what we do. And I get phone calls literally every week. I need help with my rent. I was told you helped with housing. Such and such group said y'all did housing, and it's just that we don't do that. We just don't have the resources to do with housing at all.
So I'm curious about your thoughts on misunderstandings the community has about you. And I know that one of those is that you only serve folks who are experiencing homelessness.
That's a great question. I retired from teaching in 2020. Nothing to do with COVID. I started at the Soup Kitchen in January of 2021. And the first day, I sat down in Austin's office and I asked the question that I didn't know the answer to. I said, how many people who come to the Soup Kitchen are homeless? Because I assumed, like everybody else, that everybody who came. And my sister-in-law even said one time, there's an awful lot of cars up there. Why are there so many cars up there? So people are coming for lunch. So Austin responded 50%, about 50%. So that means that people are able to provide their housing. They may have a car, but they can't meet all of their needs. They can't provide enough food for their family on a weekly or daily basis. So that kind of comes into play. And then, Meredith, I think I understand what you were asking, or what you want me to explain. I don't know, maybe 6-8 months ago, I came into the dining room area to get something out of a closet, and somebody said, "Hey, Miss Sigmund," and I said, "Well, hey, what are you doing here?" And it was a former coworker, somebody I knew from education, and he said, "My wife had surgery and has been out of work, and we just need some help." And so they were there to get food, and this is somebody who has a master's degree.
And I remember you when you first told me this story that you just assumed, oh, well, he must be here to volunteer.
Volunteer.
Right? Because we see people like that all the time, and that's just what you assume. But here you have someone who has worked his entire life, done and provided and done all the right things, and just a hardship.
So many.
Yeah.
During the 2008 crisis, by like 2010, we were seeing folks in their late 50s. They had been people like machinists that made specific parts out of metal, and they had done this work their whole life. I had a guy, he did go back to school. His name was Alan. He did go back to school. We helped him for about a year, with food and other things, and he volunteered some. And he went back to community college and got his culinary degree, and he makes the best yeast rolls. Oh, they're so good, so good.
I noticed you did not bring any today.
I'm sorry. I know.
Well, you know,
shame on me.
One thing I do want to bring up, because I think, again, a lot of people think, well, Soup Kitchen, you can just come get one hot meal a day, right?
Sure.
Which is
Sure.
okay. The majority of
not
people,
wrong.
It's not wrong, right? And that's anybody.
We call it
you
our
don't
bread
have
and
to.
butter.
That's right.
Yeah,
You don't have
what we
to.
do.
You don't have to show income. You're hungry. You need some food. You come up there.
No questions asked.
No questions asked.
And
That's what I always love
good
that you
food,
say.
and
Yeah.
good food.
Oh, it is
we
good
want to
food.
make sure this is not Oliver Twist. It's not cabbage
have some
broth.
more, please, sir.
Yes. And that back to kind of what people think and misnomers. When I took over the Soup Kitchen, that's what I thought.
Right.
I thought it would be lots of scrounging for food and having to stretch things and make things work and them not be very good, and it's never been like that. It's only gotten better as time has gone on, and I would say that's because of the community expects it. The
Right.
people who volunteer for us, the people who come there to eat. Nobody complains, but we want them to feel great when they leave.
Right. Well, I love, and I just saw recently the garden has started back up.
Yep, just put out the dirt.
Yeah,
I could not do that.
But one of the, and then you've got transportation being provided for people that actually, need to get to work and they can't. And these people they're willing to work. They just need some assistance getting there. But one of the other programs I think that you offer that is amazing that maybe a lot of people don't know about is the grocery program.
Grocery. Thanks
the
for calling it
Yeah,
grocery.
it is well, it is because that's
is.
what it is. It is a
Right.
grocery program, and when you have people in our community like the Alice population that we talk about, asset limited, income constrained, and employed, right? They make that too much to this much too much to qualify for services, but they can't quite meet all their grocery needs, or they got to decide: do I put gas in the car to get to work,
Right.
or do I feed my family tonight?
Rent and health care.
Right.
Rent
Right.
and health care. These are huge problems.
And the grocery program, could you just tell us a little bit about? And by the way, we have about 36 listeners, not 4.
All right.
So we're creeping up there.
I will always say to our 4 listeners.
Well, to our okay. So
and I
our
think
4,
start out, but I always try to say, I would try to channel Austin, free grocery of choice.
Yes.
Free grocery
Yeah,
of choice.
absolutely.
And there's method behind that.
So one of the themes I'm picking up here on is the dignity of a person's humanity
Of course.
that you're respecting, and I think that's pretty important. It's easy to look at folks, I think, and think, oh, those people need help. Where the rubber hits the road is when we realize they are us and we are them. So tell me a little bit about...
Well, hold on. Can you explain the grocery program?
Oh, hang on, 36. Yes.
Okay, real quick. I'll try not to gush too much because we're pretty proud of it. You get to choose everything that you take. We feel like families know what's best for them. They know what their health and their well-being is going to be by eating the food. So we want them to choose. We want them, everything that they take, we want them to have an idea about what they're going to do with it. So when they come in, they check in. It's really easy. It's a very simple process to check in. We have them choose all the dry items, all the pantry items, which we are not.
Yes.
We are a grocery. In the pantry, you have great things. You have cereal, mac and cheese, green beans, all the junk food,
Pasta,
potato
spaghetti.
chips, which is great.
Yep.
But you can't live a healthy life on that. You need produce and dairy and meats, and so to get those also. You go through the process. We also provide all of that to choose as well. The other thing that's kind of special about our place, so we have some pretty good recipes at our place. I would say our hot dog chili could be jarred and we could sell it. It's so good, along with a ton of other recipes.
Fundraiser.
Yeah, right. And so, but what we do with it when there's a hotel pan left, we repackage it, we label it, we date it, and it goes right back out through that grocery to someone's home to be heated up for dinner that night or the next night.
And I want to add something to what you just said.
Yeah.
And this happened this morning. If, let's say, the United Way had an event and you had leftovers, then you're like, what can we do with them? So
You
you,
do call
bring
it.
those leftovers, and the same thing happens again. They're repackaged and then repurposed through the grocery rather than it just... I mean, there's no the soup kitchen for lunch can't use one pan of something,
Right.
But the grocery could divide that out into 10 meals for somebody,
And
it
that's
makes
what
a
I
big
love
difference.
because
Yeah.
I always, when we have an event, because it happens quite often, and everybody's looking at each other going, well, do you want this? I don't want this. I don't need this at my home too. Where can we take it?
We
I
love it.
know.
Yeah.
We love it.
I know.
Easter Sunday, I was at the soup kitchen picking up food that was left over from a church meal from somebody I know whose massage therapist called them. This is like noon on Easter Sunday. And I met her down there. She was so happy. I might have a new massage therapist too.
So if I'm cooking and I end up with more than I need
Sure.
for my home, is that something? Can you take individual donations like that,
We-
or does it really need to be those event functions?
No. Well, I would say that's a difficult one because if you have a housewarming party and you invite 100 people and only 50 show up, I want you to bring that for sure. If you're doing dinner for 2, probably not. But I would say this too. Our staff is very professional. I talk about them often in that manner because they are. They are the top of the mark. They're the top of their trade, and they're very good at what they do and very good judges, especially of food, and Laura, of people and jobs, and their experience, I would say bring it. When in doubt,
Well,
bring
let's
it.
say that your company gives you a ham at Easter or a turkey at Thanksgiving, and you've already bought one. That's definitely something we could use.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of those holiday feasts, there is something you guys do at Thanksgiving.
Would you like that segue?
That was
Hey.
perfect. I'm sitting around the table with a bunch of smart people today. So we partner with a group called Operation Barbecue Relief. It started out just with me and another local guy named Scott Jarrett, who we love dearly.
Near and dear to my heart, my uncle.
He is an incredible individual. His mother was a longtime volunteer of the soup kitchen, and when he retired, he became a barbecue master. And so one of the things that he wanted to do was smoke a bunch of turkeys at Thanksgiving and give them away. And so we decided we would do 75 that first year, and there were 4 of us, and it was hard. Oh, it was so difficult. But we got it done. And last year we had volunteers from all over the eastern seaboard. I mean, I'd say 150 volunteers over 4 days. And we partnered with Operation Barbecue Relief, which Scott is a part of. They go to disaster areas and all kinds of places that are in need and serve tens of thousands of plates of food. But they do these events with organizations like ours also. And so last year we were able to give away to 500 families. It was countywide. We had them coming from Vale. We had them coming from Maiden. We had them coming. They were from Hickory, of course. And we did at Easter. We did a similar thing. We bought 500 hams. We gave 250 of them to Assure, which is another food ministry in this part of the county down here in Newton. And they gave them away to guests on this end of the county, and we gave 250 of them away at Easter on our end of the county. Now, the hams are easier.
Yeah.
Those turkeys are tough. We have these big rotisserie convection ovens that they bring in on trucks, and we can load about 43 16 to 20-pound turkeys in those things at a time. And it's a great event. It's a wonderful
But
thing
the
to be a
important
part of.
thing is that as a member of the community, you buy a turkey. You get a turkey, but you're also donating a turkey.
Turkey.
I did leave
So-
that part out, but
and
I will say
they are
that
phenomenal.
They are phenomenal, and we sell out every year.
It's where I get mine every year.
Me too.
We sell
Buy two.
150
Yes.
of them. I never go more than 150. We are quality over quantity. We want this thing to knock your socks off. So the original thought was a buy one, give one. You would buy a turkey, and we would give away a turkey. But because your uncle is so smart, he is a food genius. He can take ounces and dollars, and he can really he can make it stretch it a long way. And so it was way over buy one, give one. It was more like buy one, give 2.5, because we don't just give them the turkey. We give the folks who we're giving away to 2 side items, rolls,
A full pie.
a full pie.
So they get the sliced turkey breast of everything that we've cut.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
Green
And I
beans,
think it's
corn,
important to realize that if someone is without housing and someone is without a fuel source and you hand them a whole turkey,
What are they going to do?
What are they gonna do
Yeah,
with it?
right.
but if you can at least give them a meal that maybe they can even heat in wherever they're living or share it with some other people, it just makes so much more sense.
Well, and that kind of goes back to the what does homelessness look like,
Right.
Because that does not mean that you're on the street walking down begging for food.
You could be
right?
in a hotel room
You could be in a
tonight.
hotel. You could be in your car. You
What
could
we
live
call
with a friend.
sofa surfing.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
with Family
I had
and friends.
I had a guy once who he lived on his aunt's back screened-in porch. That's where he lived for years.
Yep.
So I think it's fair to say that most nonprofits in the county have an understanding of what it looks like and feels like to be homeless that the general public does not understand.
Sure.
One of the things that I'm very grateful to you, Laura and Austin, for is that you partner with so many different organizations in the county to help address those needs across that spectrum. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the partnerships you forged? Clearly with United Way.
Yeah.
You're a great partner to us, and I do have to tell you, the United Way team, we were there cooking turkeys this Thanksgiving. I do not like raw meat. I do not want to touch raw meat.
Again, don't know what you thought we were going to be doing.
It was
but
not. I was very happy to be there to support and proud to be affiliated, but you need. I will be the gatekeeper. I'm not touching more raw turkey. I still can't eat turkey.
you can
now.
do the
Can't
green
do it.
beans next time.
I don't.
Or,
I don't want nothing to do with none of that.
okay, you can hand out that.
Let me. Yeah, I'll. But your partnerships are vital, and I think one of the things that's happening, and I'm very proud of this across our community, is that our agencies are increasingly understanding that we cannot be effective alone. We have to partner with people who know different parts, different things. What are some of those key partnerships for the Soup Kitchen and for you?
You want to go first? You want me to?
You go first.
Okay,
Let me think
so-
about that one.
We have a bunch. I'd like to just for 1 second say that we were put on that path early. I had a gentleman, my first grant recipient, or it was my first grant I ever wrote, and the chairman of that foundation came up to me afterwards, and he goes, "You know what we liked about it, Austin? We liked that you were trying to help others." You were helping other agencies, and that happened by accident. I mean, these folks came to us because there was a need. I wasn't smart enough to know, but he said, "That's what I want to see," and it really did. It clicked in my head. And he wasn't doing it so that it would save anybody money. He was doing it because he knew it would help people. And it was a great thing he did. But the Soup Kitchen's always reached out. But recently, our biggest, and I'm very proud of, we're going to do it again this summer. We're going to provide 5,000 meals to the Boys and Girls Club again this summer.
5,000.
5,000 every summer. It's crazy. It's
Not every
75
day.
a day.
Not every day.
No, I gathered that.
Over the summer.
I know what their census is. I knew that wasn't every day.
It's one, and this again, we didn't go looking. So the pandemic happens, the school system stops doing the food. They come to us and ask us to do it. But here's the great part of the story. So the school system came back after like 3 weeks of us doing the hot meals in the boxes, and they'd come by and get them. And the school system came back after like 3 weeks and said, "Well, no, we'll do it. We'll do it." And the kids sent this picture of them with the boxes. This hangs in our kitchen. Of them with the boxes and a letter saying, "Please keep cooking our meals." And my staff was just like, because it's hard.
What do
now.
you
This
do?
is not, what are you going to do? That picture hangs there to the left of the serving window in our kitchen of those kids holding those boxes. It was so cool. So we do that. We send food weekly to Safe Harbor. It rounds up to about 75 meals. They call us that day. They're the only ones we allow to do that because they don't know the number until that day. They have a day center that we provide food for. There is a mentor program called The Den on Monday nights. It's the former Networks program from back in the day. They walk with families. These are all volunteers, and they stick with these families for years. So we feed them on Monday nights. It's about 30 families. But the truth is, we would leverage our ability with food to help any agency. And that goes for any agency. We have helped in the arts community, preservation, you name it. If you have a nonprofit in town and you need a venue to feed people for an event,
Like Hart Square.
yeah, Hart Square.
Square,
They do
yeah.
cooking classes there. The cooperative extension. We when we did the capital campaign to raise the funds to renovate and purchase the building we're in now, the people who gave to that give to all of those other organizations. They're part of all of those other places. You said Community United at the beginning of this thing. That's exactly what we're living in. And that's the way I want the Soup Kitchen to be utilized. I mean, again, if you were a business person, every square foot of your space has to be used if you're trying to make money. Now, if you're trying to help people, it's the same concept. Every square foot has to be used as much as possible to squeeze as much help out as possible.
Well, and last week when we had United Way hosted our Lived Informed tour.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So one thing that I kept hearing over and over with these different nonprofits that were on this tour was how well they work together. Right? We don't want to duplicate services,
Absolutely.
right? Because maybe we're not the best person for that. This other person is better at that job, and you guys can nail this part, right? And the other thing is, I feel like, and I said this on the tour, not every county is as
cohesive.
yes as we are, because I do feel like
Agreed.
we
Well,
all work good in the
And
same
I even
box.
said this when I taught school. People in need come to this county for a reason.
right.
It's because
You're
of
right.
the
They
quality
care.
of the resources.
People here
Yeah.
care. People here care. The idea that, and it can be looked at in a derogatory way. People can spin it as a bad thing and say, "Hey, we're a beacon for all of the hurtful people." But I will tell you, decades of history will say again and again and again, the people in this county, they see a need, they want it filled.
So that's a great point. And we're going to dive into something a bit controversial here. And that is, and I know you hear it, we hear it, it is common messaging that if we didn't have all these services, homeless people wouldn't come here. I don't know that I've ever heard so many wrong words strung together in one sentence before. The reality is nobody sat down and said, you know what we should do? Let's create services and try to draw homeless people here.
Right.
These services came about because of the compassion that our county had for folks who were struggling. It bothers me that we forget that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a dehumanization that happens there.
And a lot of the resources were here long before
Yes.
there was.
Well, the
that
other thing is,
perception, too.
the other thing is, nobody wakes up and says, "I want to be homeless today."
Right.
Well, and that's a really good point. One of our volunteers in the grocery, I was going to do a talk at ASU, and I said, "Tell me what you want these ASU students to know." And she said, "No one chooses this. No one chooses to come here to ask for food because unless it's something that they can't help. It's a need. It's not something they wake up and say, I'm just going to go and do
Right.
this today."
And in our community, this is generational, this compassion, but you can't let the painting be repainted. And that's what I tell people. I found an article when we were looking for a campaign theme to renovate that building and raise money. We were looking for a theme, and I found this newspaper article from 1987. And in 1987, the city of Hickory was declared an all-American city. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yes. And so one,
Yes.
one of the 9 things that they sent to the federal government to make it that was the Hickory Soup Kitchen. And the fact that that was a community organization that was made up of volunteers. And let me tell you, he made it clear, because even in 87, they were saying places like the Soup Kitchen attract homeless people. They were saying it then. I mean, I think I was like 15, and they were saying it then.
That hurt.
But sorry. That wasn't meant to sound like that.
I'm older
Sorry.
than you, so
I was 10.
And I don't do math very well. Who knows whether I was really 15? But the truth is, though, what Pastor Stevenson wrote, and the line that stuck out to me was, people will always come where folks care. And in this community, people care about people. The reason these agencies were created is because the folks that go to church here, that are part of civic groups, that are neighbors, that are friends, that are grandparents, children, they all see it. And they created these organizations. They're the ones that sustain them.
And that's very true. We have such a rich culture of volunteerism in our county. And that's pretty remarkable. That really does speak to a cultural value we have in this community of helping others, of when you get through the door, you turn back and offer your hand to help others through that door. That's always made me very proud. And I'm curious, I think this is a rhetorical question, but one of the things that I hear a lot, and Meredith and I got to spend some time in one of the high schools recently, and it just reinforces to me that so much about what we hear about Gen Z, Gen A, is incorrect. And one of the things we hear is that they're not invested in their community. They don't understand the value of volunteerism. I don't know that I agree with that. How do you see that?
I mean,
Formal,
as a
educated.
former high school social studies civics teacher, I would disagree with that.
Yeah, good.
I'm not, some of them, don't know how to say that exactly right. I think a lot of students who are motivated to go to college are going to use things like that on their college applications, their resumes. But then I just went to an Eagle Scout ceremony last Sunday, and those 3 young men did what they did because that's what they wanted to do. And one of them was beautification of the front of the soup
True
kitchen
commitment.
building.
Commitment.
And the other one was a food pantry in the St. Stephen's area of the county. And the other one was some gardening at his church, which obviously turned around and benefited us as well. So, you know, I think it depends on where you are.
And people are people.
And it depends on, you know, what the need is. But we see kids all the time in the summertime that want to come in, or we see families that want to come in closer to Christmas because they appreciate what they have and they want to give back. So I don't see that.
Well,
either.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they're high school
Always-
kids. They're kids. They're kids.
They are kids
They're
now.
kids.
That doesn't
But-
mean they're
Yeah.
not 14.
Right.
What I see is this almost laser-like focus on social justice in their community that I know my generation didn't have.
Yeah.
We were too concerned about going and hanging out at the mall and wearing our acid-wash jeans, right? We didn't have that. So I'm very inspired when I see that with this young generation.
And you know what's funny is, it's just now dawning on me that the beginning of my days of volunteering started at the Hickory Soup Kitchen
Really?
Oh, really?
at the old location with my grandmother. Well, with my
yes.
grandparents,
Yeah.
both of them, when they were both there. In the summer, if we were off from school, we would go with my grandparents, and every so many Wednesday or every other Wednesday, I think it was every other Wednesday at that point, they were volunteering at the soup kitchen. So we knew.
Generational, man.
Yeah, we knew,
Generational.
right?
that's your
So
point,
then,
too, yeah.
when you look at it, that started my. This is what I want to do. I want to help people. I went into social work, and now I'm able to help so many different other nonprofits in the. You know, I think so. When you look at that, that was one thing that really started probably a lot of things in my life.
There's a fun fact there, too, for our 4/36 listeners. Meredith and I actually worked at the DSS, Department of Social Services, together as social workers for many years.
Yeah. So speaking of volunteers, give us, because I know we're going to try to wrap up pretty soon here with this, even though we could go on for hours with this podcast, honestly. Maybe we'll have a part 2 at a later date.
Do that.
Hey, a repeat.
Love to do that.
So I think one is, how many volunteers do you guys help or use? And then the other part of that is, what all do they do there?
I can do that.
Yeah.
So there's kind of different entities. If you're talking about the Hope Center, we use volunteer drivers mainly in the afternoons to use our minivan to pick up people. Usually it's retirees. Retirees like to travel. They like to visit their grandkids. So I'm always in need of more volunteers. And I always say, people, if you can give me one afternoon a month, that would help. One afternoon a year would be okay. But just that small pool of people willing to give an hour, hour and a half. At the soup kitchen part, it's really kind of in 2 main ways, probably 3. There's kitchen prep. And that starts usually about 7:30 in the morning. Anything from vegetables, cooking meats, preparing meats to be
So
cooked,
handling
whatever.
raw meat is
Handling
involved.
raw meat, that kind of thing. It also may be like desserts, cutting up desserts for lunch. So there's that food prep element. Most of the serving line volunteers are usually organizations or churches. So if your business wants to get on there, the 3rd Tuesday of every month, or your church, mine does the 1st Tuesday of every month, that's a little bit different. That's not just, I want to show up and serve today. But that also can translate if people need, like later in the morning, 11 o'clock-ish kind of things or times, would be like maybe wiping down tables or taking trays to the people.
Getting the
who-
drinks started.
Getting drinks started. But then the other part is in the grocery. And that's where we've really seen a major change in our volunteer numbers in the last 3 years. That is a continual help that is needed Monday through Friday, starting about 8:15 till 8:30ish.
Let's say 12:30 at this point. We're having a restock, and we're very busy.
It's anything from, like you said, restocking to preparing bags, face to face with the guests when they come to the window. So that is That's the biggest.
What a great
draw.
team building.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
I mean,
for sure.
I want to. Can I jump back just a second? I'm sorry.
Always.
yeah.
Always. Because I have something I want to jump back to. So let's
Okay.
jump together.
My partners. And I want to mention Goodwill Career Connections. And I hope I said that correctly. Wednesday, we are partnering at the Soup Kitchen with Goodwill Career Connections, and we're having a job fair. It's from 10:30 to 1, and we will have 16 local businesses and agencies coming. So that's my big
great.
plug. So that kind of partnership for me is huge because they can reach so many resources. Same thing with someone like NC Works. If they host a job fair, it takes so much work off of me, and they're able to reach so many more businesses than I possibly can. So that would be my biggest connections right now. Would be that.
And I think
Our
that's
partners.
such a great point because the reality for all of us is our impact is magnified when we make that lift together. And that brings me to something that we've not talked about, but I really want to make sure we recognize you for, and that is the Catawba County Christmas Bureau. I think folks don't have a great understanding of that. They tend to think that it's the Salvation Army with their angel trees, and that's a part of it. But there's a reality that there's a much heavier lift that United Way and the Soup Kitchen make together. And that involves a great investment of our own dollars to make that happen every year.
It's one of my favorite things to do. I love it.
It's great. So
Meredith was there, not there?
Meredith was there.
No.
yeah. Well, I was not there on that Saturday. Remember, I was strep throat. Remember?
That's right.
Yeah, I do remember.
But you were there at some
But I was
point.
there the second pickup day.
So it really is, and I think folks don't understand that there are approximately anywhere from 800 to 1,000 families every year that benefit from that.
And how many children are in those homes, Mark?
I don't know that.
I hate to be
should
questioning,
know
but
that.
it's a lot. It's
I
thousands.
should know
Yeah.
that.
It's thousands.
But we obviously provide support for the teens. Salvation Army provides support for the children 12 and under. And then the Hickory Soup Kitchen provides nutritional support in the form of a gift card for every family that comes through those
grocery
gates.
gift
Choice
card.
matters. That's why we do the gift card. You know, giving
Yeah.
somebody a ham and a turkey is great. Love it. In fact, that was the old Toy Bureau way. We kind of
Not everybody eats ham or turkey.
That's right. My daddy was a get up in the morning on Christmas morning, have country ham and a Bloody Mary. Now I'm
Yeah.
not suggesting you have a Bloody Mary, and we do not give out gift cards to the ABC store. But everybody's family traditions are different. You have them at different times of
Yeah.
day. Maybe it's not Christmas morning. You know, maybe you see your family the day before, 2 days before. So the gift card actually allows them to purchase food that they would want for their family, that they know they would love, and it's one of the most wonderful things that we're able to.
But I
be a
think
part
what's
of.
important in that, and it harkens back to something we were talking about, and that is in this community, we work to ensure nobody's left behind. Now, we still have work to do.
Always.
Plenty of people are being left behind, but it's not because we're not trying. And I think something as simple as a grocery gift card recognizes that family as a whole as a vital part of this community. And so I'm very grateful and was quite surprised when I came to United Way to find out that the Hickory Soup Kitchen did that. So thank you.
No one has ever said, no, thank you, I don't want that.
No.
They're
No.
always so appreciative. And the story that I'm going to keep in my head for a long time is I was sitting with two of our board members, and one of our board members was handing out the gift cards to the cars that came through. And a very nice pickup truck pulled in, and the woman I was working with said, haven't they been here before? I think they have. Are we sure? Let's check their name. And we heard the man say, we can pay our bills every month. We can pay our rent. He said, but sometimes at the end of the month, we just don't have enough. And when Christmas rolls around, we don't have enough to buy our kids presents. He said, I cannot thank y'all enough for this. And so the board member turned around, tears are pouring down her eyes. I turned to the one next to me. I said, well, we just keep our mouths shut from now on and just appreciate that people were, just so appreciative. Nobody ever said anything.
It is
except for thank you.
so easy to falsely judge people
Oh, yeah.
and their situation. You know, you have to invest. You have to take time. You have to listen and dispose of those preconceived notions that we're given.
And that takes work, even for advocates.
Yeah.
I tell
it
people
does.
when I go
It
and
does.
speak, you know, I'm my judgment light switch gets turned on and off
Yep.
5 times a day. I have to keep myself in check all the time.
Yeah, it just, you're right. The Christmas Bureau it's one of the most, I knew what it was, but my perception before I started working at the soup kitchen was just the angel tree. But just to see the number of people who commit to helping distribute those toys and shop for the kids and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
And we have
humbling.
multiple other partners, not just the three of us.
Right.
But that's
And-
back to your, it takes that community and being
does.
united. It just really,
It really does take a village.
Well,
Well,
and
incredible.
I got to hand out on that second day when I was there, not sick. I was handing out the gift cards, and when I would say this is for the teen, and then or every car got the grocery gift card, and so many times people were shocked. They were like, "Oh my gosh, you just don't know how much this is going to mean to me,"
Yeah.
and like totally unexpected. They did not know they were receiving that, and you could just tell that meant the world to them because they're going to have something.
Fostering events like that is what the United Way does, and it is something that this community, I think, has deep roots and has shown an example for us to do, but it doesn't sustain itself.
No.
It takes good people, and it takes all of us. It's only holistic if we all do it,
Right.
So
and even then, it's a struggle.
And the truth is, Austin, you and I know this. We're contributing substantial amounts of money to make this happen, and every year we're coming in hot, scrambling. Can we do it? Can we make it happen? We somehow seem to squeak by, but the truth is, for our dear 36 listeners, we do need the community's help in this. So please spread the word. If you want to help support the Christmas Bureau endeavors, either through the grocery gift cards or the teen gift cards, call us at United Way or Hickory Soup Kitchen. We'll tell you how, but we need your help in this. And this is not something that I'd love to be able to say this will happen into perpetuity. We have a way to make it happen. We are scrambling every year.
Every year. Yeah,
Well, and I
every
think
year.
you and I have talked about there's a difference in the $20 gift card to a family of 3 versus a family of 6.
Right.
And what that can mean.
So, as we kind of want to wrap up here, if they want to make donations to you guys, how would one go about doing
So
that?
the easiest way to get to us is our website, hickorysoupkitchen.org. There is a Donate Now button, and you can make your donation right there. There is a box, the drop-down box for either the Hickory Soup Kitchen or the Hope Center. The Hope Center being the employment-driven effort, and the Hickory Soup Kitchen being the food piece. And you can make your donation there. You can also mail us a check. We have a post office. It's Post Office Box 1431. We've had it a long time. Hickory, North Carolina, 28603.
Or stop by and ask us what our needs
Yeah.
are at that time.
And that is a great thing to do,
because
too.
there are other things that you
Sure,
accept.
we've got a whiteboard. Just like you got a list on your fridge, our kitchen, our grocery, and the Hope Center all have a whiteboard of needs. And for Laura, it could be a pair of work shoes. It could be a jacket out of your closet. It could be any number of things for the grocery or the kitchen.
We always need book bags.
Book bag.
We always need book bags.
So, as we kind of wrap up with this, again, what do you want these 36 listeners to walk away with understanding?
Mark asked the question, what is the Hickory Soup Kitchen? It is an extension to folks in need from the people who live in this community. If you are one of these listeners that are out there, my charge to you would be get engaged. If not with us, call the United Way. You guys have the pulse on what agencies are out there and what they are doing. Call them and see where you fit in. See where you can contribute. See where you can have an impact. And I wouldn't wait. I would do it now. If you're listening to us, then you're already there. You just got to pick up the phone.
Yep.
I'm just going to end with a story. if
Please.
that's
I
okay.
would.
Austin will tell you if things don't go right, I take it to heart I take it very personally. I had a gentleman who came in last week. I'd been out for a couple of events and he had missed me, and he was very frustrated that I had not been there for him, and I couldn't meet his needs. What he wanted from me was not feasible. I could provide him with shoes, but through our conversation, he was very frustrated, and he finally decided he didn't want any of my help, and which really made me mad because of his reaction to me trying to help him. And so my whole day was started out that way, and I was not happy. And I really take it to heart that I couldn't help meet his needs. And then it became an attitude fight, battle of the wills kind of thing. And then a girl came in who had also missed me, but she was able to come back. And she said she had a job in Morganton. And it was going well. She just didn't have enough hours. And I said, well, where are you living? And she said, I'm living in my car. I said, well, why don't you live in your car in Morganton near your job? And she said, well, there are more resources here. She said, I can come have lunch. I can get a shower, things like that. And I said, well, and I'll just say that she was working at a fast food restaurant. It was not what it was. I said, well, did you think maybe we could find you the same fast food restaurant here, and you could work maybe some of your hours in Morganton and some of them here, or maybe even transfer? She said, I never thought about that. She said, that is a great idea. And she said, I've worked for them for years. I'm sure it wouldn't be any problem with me transferring. And I said, that would keep you from having to drive. And she said, I just can't thank you enough. And I thought, that was really simple. But pat on the back, it worked. I mean, it was just somebody else listening to her and seeing a different perspective. And so even though I had that setback in the morning, I felt like I had maybe made a difference in that woman's life that day. And so we're going to catch back up this week, and hopefully it worked.
And that's so important, because you hit on something that I think we always need to take a step back and remember, that when you're in survival mode, you aren't necessarily thinking clearly all the time because you're in survival mode.
Yeah.
And so there's some grace we all have that we get to think clearly because we're not in survival mode. But I think that's part of the process, right? How we lift people out of poverty.
Well, and I think it's really good always to think there is nothing wrong with a handout.
No.
And the Hickory Soup Kitchen and the grocery are about a handout. The Hope Center is not about a handout. It's about a hand up. And we're trying, back to your original question, we're trying to get people on that path to self-sufficiency, always taking care of their family. We don't want to repeat that generational cycle of poverty.
Yep.
And that's what we want people to understand more than anything, is that when we create that impact, when we help people make that change for themselves, our entire community becomes more stable and more highly functioning. And that's really the game that we are all in. How do we create the best community we possibly can? And I just want to thank you both personally on behalf of United Way, not only for what your organization does, but for your personal leadership. I am so proud to call you peers and friends. And I think you make our county a better place for everybody in it. So thank you.
We would say the same thing
agree.
about the two of you and everybody at the United Way and everybody, all the partners in Catawba County.
We don't take the responsibility lightly, although we feel confident we can do it.
Yep. Well, thank you guys again.
Thank you. This
Y'all
was
are the
fun.
best.
All right.
You're the best.
No.
Oh, don't get to his head. Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Okay, 36. Did you hear that?
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.